Delulu best friend tried to seduce my fiancé and ruin our wedding by claiming he got her pregnant. So I had her husband serve her divorce papers in front of everyone. My BFF, Samantha, who's 25, and I, at 24, have been tight buds for nearly 8 years. We clicked from the get-go and have been like glue ever since. Sure, we had our tiny spats at the beginning, but nothing major. However, in the last 4 or 5 years, we've had a couple of tiffs, and the latest one is the biggest. Normally, my friend is awesome. Always by my side, super nice, and an excellent listener. We both don't hold grudges, and unlike me, who tends to get fed up with people quickly, I have never felt that way about her in our entire friendship. But, there has always been this one issue: when she's had a few drinks, she gets super flirty with any guy in her vicinity, which seriously weirds me out because she's got a significant other. Some of our mutual friends have even dropped remarks like, "Isn't she married? Or does her husband know she acts like that?" It's making her look kind of foolish, and it's not cool. Around 4 or 5 years back, she met her husband, Kyle. Their relationship had a bumpy start, but they managed to buy a house, get engaged, and tie the knot. A couple of summers ago, things took a turn. My best friend cheated on her partner, not just once, but twice, with 2 of my best friend's guys I'm always hanging out with while she was away from him at my place. Sneaky, right? All this happened while I was sleeping at the same house. Both on separate occasions but in the same summer. The first time, she came clean about it, but the second time, she tried to keep it on the down low. I had this gut feeling that something fishy went down because she was acting all strange about it. So, I went straight to the guy involved, and he spilled the beans. He even showed me texts where she was practically begging him to keep things hush-hush. When I confronted her, she tried to play it off like he took advantage of her. But come on, 2 of my closest guy friends, both times when she was at my place, and all behind my back? That was a lot to swallow. I had this gut feeling that something went down, so I asked the guy, and he spilled the beans, showing me texts where she was practically begging him to keep things quiet. When I confronted her, she tried to say he took advantage of her. But, we had screenshots of her talking to him, saying it was consensual, so I got really mad. She accused one of my good friends of something he didn't do. I told her she put me in a weird spot, and I wasn't happy about it. These are the 2 friends I see all the time, and she made it awkward for us to hang out since she cheated on her fiancé with them. I let her know it was really wrong to accuse him of that when we had texts of her saying she wanted to hook up with him. She kinda brushed it off, and said it wouldn't happen again, barely acknowledging what she did wrong on a lot of levels. Then, she acted like nothing ever happened, taking zero accountability. I stopped inviting her to hang out with most of my guy friends. It got tricky because she asked me to be the maid of honor at her wedding, and her cheating on her fiancé was really bothering me. I felt bad for him but also didn't want to betray her. I guess I wasn't thinking straight. She never brought up the cheating again and kind of acted like it never happened. It was like she disconnected from the fact that she did it. For some reason, she started trusting everyone who knew about the cheating to never spill the beans to her partner, and even invited my 2 guy friends to hang out around her and her husband. I know it might not sound great, but at this point, I was going to be her Mo. I was trying to think the best of her and hoping that this was all in the past. I genuinely wanted her to be happy, so I just went along with her story that nothing happened and tried to move on for the sake of our friendship and her wedding. I was just hoping that no one else would spill the beans also. When we used to go out, she would still look for attention from guys when she was drinking, but it was mostly harmless, like flirting or dancing. As far as I could tell, nothing serious. The most she did was try to get one of my guy friends, the same one she hooked up with, to spend the night with her again. I shut that down immediately, and nothing happened after that. It was kind of annoying, though, because I ended up having to watch over her when she was drunk, just to make sure she wouldn't actually cheat on her husband. It felt like I was parenting my BFF to not make any mistakes again. Jumping ahead to about 4 months ago, we went out for dinner and drinks. We got pretty drunk and headed back to my place, where I lived with my boyfriend, Van of 2 years. At one point, he was upstairs, working out with the door closed, and I left my best friend sleeping in the guest room while I went down to the basement to watch some TV and do my laundry. The next day, my boyfriend called me after my best friend left and said she did something really strange that made him uncomfortable while I was downstairs on the phone. I asked him, already feeling tense, about what she had done this time. So apparently, while Van was working out in his boxers, Samantha just barged in without being invited and started talking to him about his workouts. At first, he thought she might be looking for me, so he told her that I was in the basement. But she brushed it off. She had lost some weight recently and began asking him, "Do you think I look good?" She even lifted her shirt to show her abs. Then, according to him, she went on the floor to do some butt workout moves, saying, "My ass looks so much better since I've been working out," and kept trying to get him to say that she looks good. He found it really strange and didn't want to give her the validation she seemed to be looking for. He thought she was fishing hard for compliments, so he suggested she go downstairs and find me. When he told me about it, I was furious with her. I knew she could act this way when she was drunk, but I never imagined she would do something like this with my boyfriend. First off, when you see someone in their boxers, wouldn't common sense tell you to leave the room immediately? And secondly, why would you even care about what your best friend's boyfriend thinks about your appearance or your butt? It just didn't make any sense. I decided to confront her the next day by inviting her to my place when my boyfriend was out. When I started to tell her about what my boyfriend had told me, she started apologizing, saying she had no idea why she acted like that when she was drunk, and all that. I told her that I needed space and that I didn't know how I could ever trust her again. The next day, she totally changed her story. She started saying my boyfriend was lying and exaggerating, and she thought I would have seen the conversation as harmless. But seriously, in what world is telling your best friend's boyfriend how nice your ass looks is considered harmless? My boyfriend has always been an amazing partner, and he was scared to tell me about what happened because he knew it would hurt me to see her act like that toward him. He has no reason to lie, he's never betrayed my trust. On the other hand, she has a history of this behavior, so my gut told me to believe my boyfriend. I was really upset that she changed her story and wouldn't take any responsibility, especially since this wasn't the first time she'd acted like this when she was drunk. I even told her a list of times she had done this with other guys who were taken or married, pointing out her pattern of behavior. Instead of owning up to it, she kept playing the victim, saying I was being rude for bringing up her past mistakes. She claimed she didn't know where to go from here because she feels uncomfortable around my boyfriend now. This infuriated me because she was trying to flip it around on him, even though she was the one who made him feel uncomfortable and put him in a weird position. At that point, my feelings were all over the place, but one thing was clear: I didn't want to continue the friendship unless she acknowledged her problem, sought help, and tried to understand why she acted that way when she was drunk. I shared with her that I was fed up with constantly feeling like I had to parent her, especially to prevent her from cheating. It had become exhausting, and I expressed my frustration at her tendency to blame everyone but herself for the issues we were facing. I let her know that this pattern had strained our friendship. The conversation turned into a heated exchange as I confronted her about her actions. I emphasized that I couldn't tolerate the lack of accountability and needed her to acknowledge the impact of her behavior on our friendship. She began to then blame me, asserting that I was a bad friend for not believing her side of the story. It quickly escalated into a tense exchange where she accused me of not being supportive and understanding. In the midst of this blame shifting, the tension reached a boiling point. Frustrated and hurt, she abruptly stormed off, saying that she never wanted to speak to me ever again. It was a difficult moment since she had been my best friend for the last 8 years, but her behavior was now starting to affect my boyfriend, which I couldn't just let her get away with. I accepted her decision and didn't bother contacting her after that. On a Saturday night, while I was out with my friends, at 2 a.m., her husband texted me, calling my boyfriend a scumbag for exaggerating. He implied that I was insecure because his wife had been working out, suggesting that I was jealous of her new body. He accused me and my boyfriend of making a big deal out of nothing and told me that I had been a bad friend to her. Just to set the record straight, I was extremely confident and had always been secure with myself. I texted him back, saying, maybe one day she will be honest with you and tell you what you don't know. He replied back immediately asking what I meant by that. I decided to ignore his message as it wasn't my business anymore. The next day, unexpectedly, the doorbell rang. To my and my boyfriend's surprise, we found my best friend's husband, Kyle, standing there. His presence was unexpected, but we welcomed him inside regardless. With a palpable tension in the room, Kyle had come to talk to me about the text I had sent him the previous night. He asked me to tell